Here's something architects have known for centuries that scientists are just now proving. Certain spaces can lower your cortisol levels within 60 seconds of walking in. Not because of temperature, not because of who's there, but because of how they look. Your brain is running an unconscious aesthetic calculation on every environment you enter. And when a place passes that test, something remarkable happens. Your nervous system relaxes, your creativity increases, and you start behaving like a slightly better version of yourself. But here's what's strange. Most people think aesthetic preferences are purely subjective. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder and all that. But the neuroscience tells a different story. Across cultures, across continents, across centuries, humans are drawn to the same spatial patterns, the same proportions, the same visual rhythms. And when you understand why, you start to realize that the most beautiful places on Earth aren't accidents. They're speaking a language your brain was designed to understand. Let's start with what happens in your brain when you see something beautiful. In 2011, neuroscientist Semir Zeki coined the term neuroaesthetics to describe how beauty activates a very specific region of your brain, the medial orbitofrontal cortex. This is part of your reward circuitry, the same system that lights up for food, for connection, for meaning. But here's what's interesting. The response isn't learned. Infants as young as 2 months old will stare longer at faces that adults rate as attractive. They've never been taught what's beautiful. They already know. This suggests that aesthetic preference isn't cultural conditioning, it's biological. Your brain evolved to recognize certain patterns as signals of safety, abundance, and opportunity. And when those patterns show up in architecture, in landscapes, in the streets of a foreign city, your brain responds the same way it would to a ripe piece of fruit or a safe place to sleep, with a quiet yes. So what are these patterns? Researchers have identified a few that show up across every culture that builds beautiful things. The first is fractals. These are patterns that repeat at different scales, like the branching of a tree, the veins in a leaf, or the winding streets of an old European city. A 2017 study from the University of Oregon found that looking at fractal patterns reduces stress by up to 60%. Your visual cortex processes them more efficiently. They feel natural because they are natural. And when architects incorporate fractal geometry, whether intentionally or intuitively, spaces feel more alive. The second pattern is prospect and refuge. This comes from evolutionary psychology. We're drawn to spaces where we can see without being seen, where there's a vantage point, but also a sense of enclosure. Think of a cafe table that overlooks a plaza, or a balcony above a busy street. You feel safe but not trapped, engaged but not exposed. Every great public space in the world uses this principle. The third is coherent complexity. Not too simple, not too chaotic. Your brain craves environments that have enough visual information to be interesting, but enough order to be readable. This is why you can walk through Tokyo for hours without feeling overwhelmed, even though it's visually dense. There's an underlying logic, a rhythm. Your brain finds the pattern and relaxes into it. Now, this starts to explain something travelers have felt for centuries but couldn't articulate. Why do old cities feel so much better than new ones? It's not nostalgia. It's not just the charm. It's that pre-modern cities were built by hand, at human scale, by people who walked the streets they were designing. The proportions are right because they were tested in real time. The materials are natural because they had to be. The streets curve because they followed the land rather than imposing a grid on it. Modern urban planning, especially in North America, optimized for cars, for efficiency, for cost. And those optimization functions don't include how a space feels. So, you get wide roads that make you feel exposed, glass facades that give nothing back, buildings that ignore the street entirely. These places aren't ugly in a technical sense. They're just neurologically dead. Your brain scans them and finds nothing to hold on to. This is why people gladly spend their hard-earned savings to visit Florence, Kyoto, Barcelona, not just for the history, but because these places speak the language your nervous system evolved to hear. But aesthetics don't just make you feel good, they change how you behave. Environmental psychologists call this embodied cognition. The idea that your environment isn't just a backdrop to your life, it's a participant in it. Studies show that people are more generous in beautiful spaces. They walk slower. They're more likely to strike up conversations with strangers. They report higher levels of well-being, even when controlling for other factors. The environment isn't just holding your experience, it's shaping it. And this is where it gets interesting for travel. When you're in a place that's aesthetically coherent, that speaks to your visual brain, you're not fighting your environment, you're in harmony with it. And that harmony frees up cognitive resources for everything else, for learning, for connection, for presence. This is why the same conversation feels different in a cramped Costco versus a terrace overlooking the Amalfi Coast. It's not just the view, it's that the view is doing something to your brain that makes you more available for the moment. So here's what we know. Your brain is running an aesthetic evaluation on every space you enter. Beautiful places aren't just pleasant, they reduce stress, enhance creativity, and change your behavior. And this effect is amplified when you're not just passing through, but actually engaging with a place. This is why we designed Nomara experiences the way we did. Every location is chosen not just for the skill we're teaching, but for the environment we're teaching it in. Learning to cook in a fluorescent kitchen is not the same as learning to cook in a sunlit courtyard in Tuscany. Dancing in a studio is not the same as dancing in a centuries-old plaza in Colombia. The aesthetic context isn't decoration, it's infrastructure for transformation. When you combine skill immersion with aesthetic immersion, when the place itself is teaching you how to be more present, more open, more alive, that's when travel stops being consumption and starts being change. Your brain is always listening to the spaces around you. The question is what those spaces are saying. Most of us spend our lives in environments that were designed for something other than human flourishing, and we adapt. We tune them out. We stop noticing what we're missing. But then you step into a place that gets it right. A street that curves just so. Light that falls at exactly the right angle. A horizon that invites you forward. And suddenly you remember what it feels like to be in a conversation with your environment. To be held by it. That feeling isn't random. It's not subjective. It's your brain recognizing something it was built to understand. If you want to experience places that speak this language while learning skills that matter, check out the link below. And if you want to keep exploring why travel changes us, subscribe. We're just getting started.